Hey everyone, and welcome back to another round of Tuesday Night Legacy presented by Spellhold Games. My name's Eugene, and this is round 2 from February 8th. On the left, we have Mason piloting a 60-card Death and Taxes list. On the right, we have Andrew piloting a UR Delver list. The UR Delver list, known for its tempo plays, whereas the Death and Taxes list, kind of a mid-range style deck that is constantly taxing its opponent in a control style fashion until the value just outgrinds the opponent. So, let's get started. We have Andrew on the play here, which is going to be extremely important. Delver of Secrets coming down on turn 1, as the tempo build benefits greatly from being on the play. A lot more reactive after already having that Delver of Secrets down. We see the Mishra's Bauble come down, and he's going to bauble himself, and saw that he did not have a instant or sorcery on top, and drew the card instead, and then stacked the trigger in such a way that he was able to actually find that force of will to flip his Delver of Secrets. He also was able to daze that Aether Vial super early, kind of putting putting Mason off of his turn 1 Aether Vial play, which is super important. The Aether Vial giving Death and Taxes a way to get down creatures without having to cast the spells, and basically allowing them to have extra interaction, especially against blue decks that operate on instant speed. Andrew does get down a Mother of Runes here, though. But it is going to get lightning bolted before being affected. It's still affected by Summoning Sickness, meaning that it cannot tap to protect itself from the lightning bolt. So Andrew got rid of it right when he needed to. As you can see here, Delver firing on all cylinders, each threat coming down, being able to either be answered by a counterspell or removal of some sort. Wasteland taking out the Volcanic Island. That Delver just coming in for beats. It's already dealt 9 damage this game in 3 turns. We have a Brainstorm from Andrew. I believe this is main phase on his turn. I think he might be looking for another land. I'm actually going to highlight the Rashadan Port. Going to be able to tap down lands on Mason's side. I'm going to highlight Brainstorm here really quick. So it is an instant speed, draw 3 cards, put 2 cards back from your hand. I usually don't talk about the blue cantrips, but I think it's vitally important, especially with the interaction with the Misty Rainforest, or any fetch for that matter. You can see all 3 of those cards, and even if you have dead cards in hand, because all 3 go to your hand, you can put back the dead cards that you do not want, and you can sacrifice the fetch land to get rid of those cards and have fresh cards on top. We see another swing from the Delver of Secrets. Mason not having a ton of action here. 2 Rashadan Ports and 2 Plains down. So he's going to go and try and tap the Misty Rainforest. It's going to get sacrificed in response so that it is not taxed for the turn. The Rashadan Port's very good at taxing your opponent's mana as long as you have some sort of threat down to back up the taxing effects. Without a threat, Mason is kind of just buying time, so that even if he is buying himself a little bit more time, maybe trying to stop that Murktide Regent from coming down in Andrew's hand, that Delver of Secrets is going to have him dead in 3 turns by itself if he can't deal with it. So we're going to Andrew's draw step now. All of that happened during his upkeep. 3 more damage, down to 5. Pay 1 for a Ponder. Going to draw 3 cards. He can put them back if he wants. And then he has the option to shuffle, which he has opted to do here. And once this is fully resolved, he's going to draw a card, seeing fresh cards off the top of his deck. And he's going to pass with that 2 mana. Didn't get the land drop, but that's okay. Andrew kind of banking a lot on the Delver of Secrets, but it hasn't gone wrong for him yet. Seeing a hard cast Solitude main phase is going to catch the Force of Will, pitching a Brainstorm, protecting the Delver for one more turn. 3 more damage, down to 2. 2 mana for that Murktide Regent. Yeah. So Murktide Regent does cost 7, but it does have Delve. Being able to delve 5 instants and sorceries is going to get it 5 extra +1/+1 counters. So it's going to come in as a 2 mana 8/8 with flying. Pretty good value. We see the Silent Clearing being sacrificed here for an extra draw. 3 mana being spent for a Flicker Wisp. Mason actually targeting the Delver of Secrets here, because he's banking on the fact that if the Delver does not flip, then he would have only taken 1 damage, and he would have been able to block the Murktide, although showing the days off at the top, it did flip, and that would be lethal. So we are going on to game 2 here. Mason with the Plains into a Rishadan Port, casting Aether Vial. This one will stick, so each turn he's going to be able to put a counter on it, and activate that at instant speed, putting any creature in his hand with converted mana cost equal to the number of counters on Aether Vial into play. Seeing a Scalding Tarn getting sacrificed, looking for a basic mountain, playing around the wastelands that Death and Taxes is known for. Only getting the Volcanic Island if you absolutely have to. Going to cast Dragon's Rage Channeler here. Oh, the Flicker Wisp went down. Dragon's Rage Channeler is a 1/1, and it does have, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Surveil 1. Ooh, gonna Brainstorm in response, get that Surveil trigger. You can take that card on top of your library, and if you don't like it, you can just put it right into the graveyard, although Andrew did like it here. Putting 2 off the top. Basically brainstorming in response to Thalia, because if he doesn't, then he can't cast it, because non-creature spells cost 1 more to cast across the board. This does affect the Death and Taxes player as well, but they basically have 2 non-creature spells in the whole deck, one of them being Aether Vial, that's already in play, and the other being Swords to Plowshares. So it doesn't affect them nearly as much as these can-tripping blue decks. So the Dragon's Rage Channeler is also looking for 4 unique card types in the graveyard. It's got 2 right now, instant and land. And if it does hit 4, that is known as Delirium, it will get +2/+2 and gain flying, but it has to attack each turn if able. So it's kind of a amped up Delver of Secrets. Just has all sorts of extra text on it, all sorts of good stuff for the red-blue player. Silent Clearing coming down on Mason's side. Does have that Wasteland, but it's not particularly useful at the moment. 2 white mana. It's going to get a Skyclave Apparition. If this enters the battlefield. Andrew looking, it looks like he's got 2 Expressive Iteration, a Lightning Bolt, but I do not think he has any permission there. So it is going to enter the battlefield, and it's going to exile a non-land permanent CMC 4 or less. It is gone for good. He's not going to get it back, but if the apparition dies, then Andrew, or the opponent, will get an illusion with power toughness equal to the CMC that it exiled, which in this case would be 1, since Delver of Secrets only costs 1 mana. We see a Lightning Bolt coming down, getting rid of the Thalia. Expressive Iteration on Andrew's main phase. It's going to Surveil, get rid of that Delver that was on top of his deck. Looks like he's still looking for 1 more card type in the graveyard. He's got instant creature lands now. Gonna exile a Murktide Regent. The Expressive Iteration resolves, and so that is a sorcery, and we are online with the Dragon's Rage Channeler. Yeah. Alright, 3 damage in, down to 10. Going to sack the Misty Rainforest, grabbing a basic island. These are some beautiful basic islands and mountains, by the way. Scalding Tarn also going in. Going to get the Volcanic Island. Wants the 2 blue to cast the Murktide. So the great thing about fetch lands is that they add to your delve triggers, delve count. So even though he doesn't get +1/+1 counters for the fetch lands, it at least makes it possible to cast the spell the same turn. So it'll come in with 3. I think that's 3. Yes, that is 3. It's an Iteration, Lightning Bolt, and a Brainstorm. So our Mason is going to activate the Aether Vial at the end of Andrew's turn, getting the Stoneforge Mystic. Andrew cannot counter this, as it is being put into play by the Aether Vial ability. So the Enter the Battlefield effect will go on the stack, and Mason is searching up the bad boy of the format, the Cauldron Complete, the indestructible legendary artifact. This has got all the text in the world. It creates, so it's got Living Weapon, which means that it creates a 0/0 germ when it enters the battlefield and attaches itself to it. It gives that germ +5/+5, first strike, trample, indestructible, haste, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a creature, exile it. So it comes down as a huge beater for 2 mana, activating that Stoneforge ability. Not quite down yet. Mason wanted to cast Recruiter of the Guard, which went and got any creature card with toughness 2 or less into his hand. Looked like he thought about Solitude for a second and then decided against it and went with Flicker Wisp instead. Probably so that he doesn't have to give himself card disadvantage by exiling Solitude from his hand. So he's activating the Cauldron, getting it into play. And then he's going to activate that Aether Vial, which is going to flicker the Murktide Regent, getting rid of those 3 +1/+1 counters on it, just making it a 3/3. A little bit better to deal with, and can actually trade with the Flicker Wisp as well. Flicker Wisp being a 3/1 flyer. So that was 5 damage in with Cauldron Complete. It's now Andrew's turn. He's going to draw for turn. He's definitely got some gas there. It looks like a Lightning Bolt, an Expressive Iteration, a couple more cards, another Dragon's Rage Channeler, which is does stack in the way that you will get 2 Surveil triggers whenever you cast a non-creature spell. So the Lightning Bolt's going to come down, deal with that Flicker Wisp. He's going to get 2 Surveil triggers. Mishra's Bauble, and I think that's a Mystic Sanctuary to the grave. Mystic Sanctuary would have grabbed him any instant or sorcery out of his grave if he had 3 or more islands in play, including the Mystic Sanctuary. But that was not relevant at the time, as he wanted to get his Delirium number back up, which I think he does. Instant, artifact, land, creature. So he went for attacks, and then he cast another Murktide Regent on the second main phase, and because that is a static ability on the Murktide Regent, an instant or sorcery left his grave, and so that actually gave a +1/+1 counter to both of the Murktide Regents. Pretty good casting those guys back-to-back. Pretty scary situation for Mason to be in. He's going to cast another Recruiter. Take a look here. It's going to get another Flicker Wisp. With 4 flyers and being at 3, might be in trouble. Just has a land. Hard casting Flicker Wisp. And it's going to get dazed. And that is going to be end of game 2. And with Andrew 2-0, that is going to be the end of round 2. So please join us for round 3 in a little bit. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe the channel. Thank you.